So you want to start a spice or herb business, but you're thinking, what can I add to my spices or herb blends to keep them from clumping? Well, I'm going to get into what's known as anti-caking agents. And if you're just starting a spice business, you're going to need to understand how these work if you want to use them in your spice blends. We're going to get to that right now. Alright, so welcome back. This is Marketing Food Online, YouTube's premier food entrepreneur channel. We bring you tips, tricks, and all kinds of fantastic information to get your food business up and running, create a food product to get it on the retail store shelves, and get into food truck business. So as we're going to get started in this video, I'm going to cover a subscriber's question. It was one question from Khadija, and I hope I pronounced that right. I apologize if I did not. Khadija actually had a great question about spices. I did a video, how to start a spice and herb business, which was really quite popular. We had a lot of people ask questions about spice businesses. And she wanted to know, she says here, I'm interested in starting a spice and herb business, but doing research, I realized certain dry seasoning clumps up. Do you have any experience using a chemical to prevent such things? Yes, I'm actually going to give you a handful of them in this video. I'm going to show you a couple lists. I'm going to explain to you what anti-caking agents are and how you can use them. And there's quite a few out there. There's some that are actually two different types. Some that are man-made, that are normally chemically based or naturally derived from natural sources. So I'm going to give you just a little bit of information about what they are first and then dive into it. I'm going to, on the screen here, show you a little list of a couple of different types that you can use. Some of the list for the natural and man-made ones are quite extensive, but for the video purposes, to try to keep it short and sweet, I'm going to put you a list on there really quick. So first question is, what exactly is an anti-caking agent as it's known? So it's basically a food additive that'll prevent clumping in certain solids, and it actually permits like a free-flowing condition as it's known. Anti-caking agents also consist of such substances as magnesium carbonate. It could be silica. It could also be products such as table salt, flours, coffee, and sugars. You actually find it in a lot of food products, and a lot of people don't realize they're there because in some cases they're not required to be labeled on the ingredient listing, believe it or not. So things like baking powder, cake mixes, you know those instant soups, like the soup powders that are flavored, also like hot chocolates, grated cheeses. These are the types of products where anti-caking ingredients are added to, and again, you don't necessarily need to put them on the label, which is kind of an interesting thing. I didn't realize that myself until a couple of years ago. Now, in regards to your question, have I actually ever used them? No, I don't use them in any of our candies because the candies and things that we actually make don't call for it or don't have a need for them. So how do these anti-caking agents actually work? Well, a couple different ways. They can literally function to basically absorb excess moisture either into the package or in the certain environment that it may be in your cabinet or in your home. Also, it even can make, in some cases, a product water repellent, which is quite interesting. I didn't realize it could go that far. But it can either make it repel the water or basically absorb excess moisture without hindering the quality of the product of the spice itself. So now, as I mentioned in the opening, there's actually two types. There's ones that are manufactured that are basically man-made. Those are chemically based, okay? And then there's also natural anti-caking agents, which will be derived from the natural source, okay? So the bulk of what's actually used in most foods, unfortunately, is actually synthetic substances. They're going to be things such as magnesium or calcium stearates, silicone dioxide, a lot of really saturated fatty acids that are actually added to products to increase its ability to either repel or absorb that additional moisture, keeping products free-flowing. Like I said, like salt. If you were to take a salt and you've tipped it upside down, you can see how fast it pours out. Salt has a tendency to have that as well, and that basically keeps it what they call free-flowing, so it doesn't clump into big balls of salt or any type of seasoning for that matter. So here's a couple of lists. Here's a couple I put there on the screen. This is a list of additional anti-caking agents, and those are the types that can be put in either foods or drinks, and a lot of them actually are. I'm doing some research for this video to definitely give you some great answers. Came across a gigantic list, which I was kind of shocked to see, at just how many different chemically actually man-made anti-caking agents are in foods and the vast variety of foods that actually use them. So to answer your question, Khadija, yes, there are definitely additional items. Some of them are chemically based. Some of them are naturally derived. You can put them into herb blends, seasonings, and pretty much a lot of different food products that would require some type of moisture absorption. So take a look down below. I'll actually add a couple of extra links to some websites and some resources. If you're starting a spice business and you're obviously looking to make a business from it, it can definitely be a profitable business. Spices and herbs can be purchased in huge quantities and broken down. The margins on them are really, really high compared to a lot of other produced food products. So definitely take a look at those resources. Now, the trickiest part is obviously going to be how much of that do you add to your herb blends and spices. That is something you'll have to double check and do a little research on. That I'm not 100% sure about, and I don't want to definitely speak on how much you should put in a certain recipe. But if you come up with a spice blend or an herb blend, definitely take a look around, find out online what would be the best quantity of these anti-caking agents to put in there. So I hope that does help you understand what they are. And of course, you do have a couple of different varieties you can use. And as always, if you have questions, please let me know down below. And I'll see you guys in our next video. Thanks for watching Marketing Food Online. And if you are looking to create your own food truck, start a home-based food business under the cottage food law, franchise a food operation, start a packaged food business, private label your own food product, sell on Amazon, get your own online store, or sell food online, remember to subscribe and check out these videos for more resources. Take care.